I'm Karen Thayer, founder and CEO of Fertility Planit. It's my pleasure to introduce our closing session of Fertility Planit here in New York City. I think you all know it's going to be Gabrielle Bernstein giving our closing keynote on living fearless and free. And I just wanted to just introduce Gabrielle, but first I just wanted to say that it's been an incredible day for me as the organizer of this event. I've talked to so many different types of people from all different types of backgrounds, people who are here as providers, as experts, as consumers, as patients. And it just seems like it's all really boiled down to figuring out how to have a child, figuring out how to create your families, and the fact that it's not necessarily as straightforward as it used to be. We're now kind of surrounded by so many options and choices and opportunities and different ways of putting it all together. And yet I can tell you that personally speaking, I found it extremely difficult to let go of that traditional dream. I was raised with a certain kind of fairy tale of how things would turn out for myself as an adult and what it would look like, and I would be married at a certain point and have certain amounts of children at certain points, and it just didn't happen for me like that. And so letting go of that traditional dream was very difficult, and at the same time I found it really easy to feel badly about myself. Why hasn't this happened? What's wrong with me? Why isn't it working? And then I got frustrated with my body, and just sort of found myself growing more and more despairing as the journey took longer and longer and longer. And then at one point I just put my foot down and started listening to Tony Robbins actually, and started saying to myself, I'm just done feeling bad. I don't want to feel bad anymore. And on that note, I would say I really wish I had known about Gabrielle Bernstein at that point. I think she would have been a more appropriate person for me to be listening to, for to sort of embrace and to absorb her ideas and just the philosophies that she puts forward. I can't think of a more inspiring person to end the day with. Gabrielle Bernstein, if you would come up to the stage. Gabrielle is the New York Times best-selling author of May Cause Miracles, which is out right now. We actually are selling some of her books out here on a table, so I hope you'll look at those on your way out. She appears regularly as an expert on NBC's Today Show. She's been featured on Oprah's Super Soul Sunday as a next-generation thought leader. She was named a new role model by the New York Times. She's also the author of the books Add More Ing to Your Life, Spirit Junkie, and the forthcoming book Miracles Now, which comes out in April 2014. And she's also the founder of herfuture.com, which is a social networking site for women to inspire and empower and connect. So I hope you'll join me in giving a very warm welcome to Gabrielle, the one and only Gabrielle Bernstein.
Thank you. Somebody use mic? Yeah, that'd be great, yeah. Thank you. Hi, everybody. How are you all doing? It's been a long day, yeah? But a good, educational, great day. Long day doesn't mean bad day, it means great day, right? Well, I really want to begin by honoring everyone that's come out, whether you're in the room, whether you're on the internet, but I want to honor you for showing up and really giving yourself the opportunity to educate yourself in a new way, to become open to new ideas, and to really say, I'm going to step outside my comfort zone and start to engage in a conversation that isn't always comfortable, isn't always easy, and isn't always charged with exciting news, right? It's sometimes a tough conversation for folks. And so I really acknowledge and honor everyone listening for showing up for yourselves today. And that's a huge part of what I want to address this evening. I want to talk a lot about how we can begin to shift our perceptions when it comes to fear-based belief systems and limiting beliefs that really can hold us back and keep us stuck. And the ways that we can start to learn how to take action in our lives where we can really begin to reduce stress, where we can really begin to learn how to self-soothe and calm ourselves in situations when we feel like we don't have any option, right? Or we feel, excuse me, I'm getting a little hot up here. I'm going to take off my jacket. Or if we begin to feel as though we're stuck, we're blocked, we're feeling as though there's a wall against us, and we're looking at all of these different ideas or stories that we're being told and recognizing that maybe there isn't a better way when we have to take responsibility for those belief systems. So my intention for this evening is to not just sit here and talk about how we can think better, how we can feel better, and how we can reduce stress. But my intention is to give you concrete tools, concrete meditations, mindful exercises, and things that you can bring into your own life right now. We're going to do it together tonight. The things that you can begin to activate in your own life right now so that you can start to have an experience that is more free-flowing, more faithful, and more relaxed. When it comes to birthing anything in the world, whether it's a career path, a new relationship, a baby, we have to be calm. We have to be at ease. We have to be in a state of knowing, a state of faithfulness, a state of a belief system that is backed with peace. When we are in that energetic state of fear or disbelief or anxiety and tension and stress, in effect, we literally are vibrating at a frequency that is deflecting new opportunities. It's deflecting new ideas. It's deflecting our capacity to be led in the right direction. It's deflecting our body's capacity to heal itself, to restore itself, to actually create. And so it's our responsibility to not just look at the medical procedures, which is all very important. Everything that you've been learning up to this point today is extremely important. But if we can do everything right from a medical perspective, but if we don't have our head straight, if we don't have our sense of peace and serenity, and if we don't have a real great capacity to restore our energetic state, to restore our belief system, and get into that space of peace, then we can still deflect the opportunity. We can still be misaligned with the opportunity to create. And so that's a huge message that we really need to begin to merge into this message that we've been hearing all day long. So I'm a teacher of a metaphysical text, and a lot of what I teach is coming from a place that sometimes we can say, oh, that sounds a little woo-woo, right? But coming from that place, we also see, we really can't deny the miracles that happen. No one can deny the experience of recognizing that when they change their mind about their experiences change. Can everybody get behind that with me? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That when you change your mind about your experiences change. And that may not be that the outcome that you were expecting happened the exact way that you had planned and envisioned since you were 12 years old. It may not be that that happened the exact same way. But what happens is that a new idea came forward, a new opportunity, a new experience that is exactly as it needed to be, but your logical mind couldn't get you there. Your creative mind, when tapped into, is the mindset that we need to start to access. That creative capacity to open our belief system to a new idea. When we're stuck in that logical mind, when we're stuck in that to-do list, when we're stuck in the, oh, the doctor said this, or we're stuck in I'm too old, or we're stuck in I'm a single parent, or we're stuck in this is a same-sex marriage, we're stuck in all of these stories that block us and block us and block us and build up the walls against our capacity to create, we literally cut off our connection to that creative capacity. We literally cut off our connection to those innovative ideas. And we cut off our connection to our intuition. How many of you have had the experience where you've calmed down and you hear an inner knowing? You hear a voice that says, don't take that job. Or you hear a voice that says, leave that relationship. Or you hear a voice that says, get out of that room, right? Or go in that direction. Or stop eating that food. You hear that loving, intuitive voice that comes forward. The only way we can access that voice is through stillness. The only way we can access that voice is when we proactively turn down the volume of that fear-based voice that has been so built up against that loving presence. Is everybody with me on that? Yeah. And that's our responsibility. It's not just going to happen. What happens in our day-to-day lives is that we read statistics. We watch the news. We wake up and we are bombarded with one story after the next, and it continuously is building up that wall against our true belief system. It's building up that wall against that faithfulness. It's building up that wall against that belief system that says, of course you can do this. Who cares how old you are? Who cares if the doctor is saying this? Of course you can have this. And that belief system that says, go to this doctor instead. Or that belief system or that inner voice that says, oh, maybe you can do this in a different way, or maybe there's something in your diet that needs to be changed, or maybe there's a new book that you need to read. That voice is there to lead you in the intuitive direction that you need, but it's our job to connect to it. And so what I really want to talk about is creating new possibilities through our belief system, creating new experiences as a result of changing our internal condition. Really, all that happens is that our outside world is literally just a reflection of our internal condition. Whatever is happening in your life is a reflection of what's happening internally. What's happening internally is creating that energy that you are. That fear-based belief system is creating a static energy of fear. And that energy, again, deflects and deflects and deflects. There's a message from a text called A Course in Miracles, which I just find so beautiful, and I think it's relevant to bring anywhere, anytime, particularly in this room. And it's, there is a way of living in the world that is not here, although it seems to be. You do not change appearance, though you smile more frequently. Your forehead is serene, and your eyes are quiet. Does that sound nice? Everyone's like, wow, that sounds interesting. What is that like? It sounds like a pipe dream, right? Well, no, there is a way of living in the world where it's far different than the tension that we wake up with every day. There is a way of living in the world that's far different than the anxiety that we carry with us or the baggage from yesterday. And that way of living, once again, is something that we have to claim. That way of living is something that we have to really practice. Faithfulness is a muscle. Fear is our norm. Fear, anxiety, tension, lack, discomfort, that is the norm. That is what we are programmed to lean on. That is what we are programmed to believe in. But if we want to raise our energy system, we want to really reorganize our nervous system, we want to get our body to a place where it's really cooperating, we want to get our experience and our relationships to a place where they're free-flowing and natural, then we have to take that proactive step to really get to the place where we can walk through life with less stress and less tension and less disbelief. Okay? So I want to first begin to talk about some of the ways that fear is blocking us from living in that way, where our forehead is serene and we are more relaxed and the world seems like it's just happening naturally, where things are flowing naturally, where all the resources that we need are coming, when we can start to recognize that the obstacles in our life are actually opportunities for growth and learning and healing. And so what are the blocks? The blocks are the attack thoughts towards ourselves and others, right? Attack thoughts towards that partner that isn't co-signing your vision, right? The attack thoughts towards your family members who may not believe in your desired dream. The attack thoughts towards yourself saying, oh, you're too old, you're not well, you're in a gay marriage. All of those belief systems that are holding you back from believing that you can have a child, that you can have a very blissful family unit. All of those attack thoughts, whether they be coming from others or they be put out towards others from you, or they be just taking that attack right onto yourself. It's important to recognize that when you're attacking others for their disbelief, you're really just taking that gun and shooting it back at yourself. It's just like literally that reflection is coming right back to you. So if you're in a situation right now where you're feeling there's a lot of tension because someone is in disbelief or someone's not co-signing your dream, that attack towards them is an attack on yourself. And so really starting to learn how to smooth over that attack, first and foremost by recognizing what you are projecting onto others is being projected back to you. All that attack creates tension. It creates more stress, and it keeps you stuck, okay? Uncreative ideas. So staying stuck in the belief system of it only can be this way. Right? Is anybody kind of in that space where it's, or have you been there where you feel, I can only do it this way. This is the way I've been told. There is no other idea. There's nothing wrong with believing the doctor, believing a family member, believing what you choose to believe in. But if that is an uncreative idea that is limiting, you have to be open to become more limitless. That's your responsibility once again. All of these uncreative ideas keep us stuck in old patterns. They keep us stuck in negative relationships. They keep us stuck in a fearful place that says, we can't, I can't, how dare I, how, you know, I'm not worthy. That uncreative way of thinking, okay? The anger and resentment that we may be carrying towards ourselves is something that really keeps us from really creating, once again. So if we're here to create, anger, resentment is blocking you from your capacity to create. So in some cases, we have to look at ourselves and say, what are we angry about? That anger creates tension. That anger creates sickness. That anger creates disease. And that is just a block, is a real block to our capacity to create. And so what is that anger? And this is for women that are listening, but also for spouses that are listening, that really in a place, what is it that I'm bringing to the table? If I'm going to create something, if I'm going to make something, I want to make it with joy. I want to make it with ease. I want to make it with faith. I don't want to make it with anger and resentment and attachment and control and manipulation. That is, it's going to deflect the possibility. And it's going to create tension and anxiety around the whole process. So really looking at where is their anger. And when we're feeling stuck and blocked, it's a sure sign that we're stuck in those uncreative ideas, that we're more faithful towards fear than we are towards that belief system of creativity. And so that, once again, check yourself. Start right now. Say, in what, scale of 1 to 10, how fearful am I? Scale of 1 to 10, how uncreative am I? 10 being the most uncreative you could be. Or scale of 1 to 10, how open am I? How faithful am I? And start to really get honest with yourself about the way that you are living. That honesty is everything when it comes to changing your behavior and your patterns. That honesty is exactly what we all need to start to create change. And if we're unwilling to look at our behavior, then we're going to stay stuck in the old patterns. That's it. We just stay stuck. We stay there, we live there. But that willingness to say, I'm going to look closely at this, and I'm going to ask myself honestly, that begins a whole new dialogue and a whole new conversation. So we're really just also needing to discuss how all of that fear, all of that anger, all of that resentment, all of those attack thoughts, all of that judgment can just put stress on the body, right? So when we're stuck in that stressful place, we have what is called the allostatic load, when we can no longer have that experience of allostasis where the body naturally restores itself. We get past that place. The stress builds upon the stress, builds upon the stress, and we get to that place of the allostatic load when we are so stressed that we burn out. We're so stressed that we get ill. We're so stressed that we're tired all the time. We're so stressed that we're constantly turning to the chocolate or the alcohol or the foods that are not serving us because we're trying to anesthetize that discomfort from the stress. What is that stress doing? It's blocking our capacity to create. And so we need to start to take a strong look at that stress and start to begin to bridge and build upon new ways to start to limit that stress, change that stress. A huge way that I think we need to begin is to look at how, when we have these visions of what it is that we want to create, what are all the fear-based stories that we've created around them? So if the vision is, I am here to create a child, what are all the fear-based stories that you have created around that vision? Those stories are creating stress within you. Those stories are creating tension within you. Those stories are creating fear. And so really becoming clear. Then becoming, recognizing and accepting the ways that we may be controlling or manipulating an outcome that we cannot control. This conversation in particular is an area of life where we really must be surrendered fully. We really must be in a place of release, but be in a place where we have a clear vision, we are surrendered fully, and we're taking intuitively guided action rather than fear-based action, right? When we start to take fear-based action, we're controlling, we're pushing, we're manipulating, and we're stuck again in that story of it's only this way. When we start to allow ourselves to calm down, to become more centered, and to open up to those creative ideas, we begin to take intuitively aligned action. And that intuitively aligned action can really be the big kicker and the opportunity to change every direction that you may be going in. How do we tap into that place of intuition? How do we tap into that place of calm? How do we tap into that place of faithfulness? And how do we start to let go of that stress and that tension and that disbelief? Well, for me,